Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to episode number 21? No, 22, of the TEW 2016 Challenge Run. We are booking Monday Night Raw, and the follow-on from the Raw after WrestleMania, where many new angles and superstars debuted. And we are on the road to Backlash. Let's get right into it. Raw opens with a lounge, two furry couches on the stage, very fancily looked. Got Elias and Conti on there, obviously dressed really fancily, for a new talk show called Shooting the Breeze, hosted by Tyler Breeze and The Boutique. Tyler Breeze welcomes his guest, who he calls WWE's newest failure, Jonathan Gargano. Gargano comes out, sits on one of the furry couches, looks really uncomfortable in this environment because he's Johnny Gargano and he's not really a very fashionable gentleman. I mean, he's fine, but he's not known for like Tyler Breeze is. And Tyler Breeze keeps on drilling into him about how he had a chance to be Universal Champion on his first night against Seth Rollins and he failed. And Gargano says, yeah, I know I lost. Credit to Seth Rollins. He's obviously one of the best wrestlers on the planet. He was the better man last night. But he has an issue with, after the match, Braun Strowman coming out, attacking Seth, just because he's a big, strong man, and he feels like he can just bully people around. Tyler Breeze obviously would fire back. He'd take more digs at Gargano, like, oh, how does it feel knowing that compared to Braun Strowman, you're an insignificant, small man and you'll never be as strong as Braun Strowman. Basically trying to goad him into fighting Braun Strowman in the main event tonight. And Gargano's like, yeah, okay, I'll put my money where my mouth is. I'll face Braun Strowman in the main event. And then he goes to leave and he's like, oh, did you not hear? He turns to Elias and Conti, who are dressed in like a fancy dress. Like, not dressed for competition at all in the slightest. And he's like, oh, by the way, you two are in a match right now against these women. And out come the women's tag team champions, Sasha and Bayley, who are going to going to face a not dressed for competition, Elias and Tainara Conti. Goes about as well as you think it would for the unsuspecting women who are beaten by the women's tag team champions. Bayley pins Tainara with a belly to belly. Not much else to it, because if they were stood out there in ring gear for a fashionable segment like Shooting the Breeze, it would have been obvious they were having an impromptu match. Just to make it feel more impromptu, there. Cuts backstage, Bray Wyatt is shown in a dark room, not like smoky and spoopy with the big intro like old Bray, just cuts to him sat in a dark room because he's more humanized now. He's not spoopy Undertaker dude. He's not spoopy child TV presenter. He's just a dark good guy, basically. He says the new outlook on life has allowed him to see things the way that he would never have seen them before. He was blinded by rage, and he now sees the world clearer than he ever has before. He knows there's a plethora of problems in the world, but the biggest problem of all is bad people. And he knows, yes, that's a bit rich coming from him because he used to be an evil cult leader, but he still hears Abigail. Abigail never really took to Bray that way. She was always looking down upon him for the decisions he was making. And now she's trying to try and steer him back on the right track. And last week he saw something that struck a nerve with him, and he's going to use his newfound respect for the world to try and do something about it and set everything right. So who knows what he's talking about there? A surprisingly good match. We get four-way tag team match to decide who will face the Revival at Backlash. And it is Kurt Hawkins and Zack Ryder who finally end the streak, get a win here tonight. It wasn't elimination like it says it was. It was one fall to the finish and they pinned Heath Slater. who also got injured, I can see down there. Yeah. Because I don't want to pin American Alpha yet. Wolf and Dane, I also don't want to pin them just yet, because I have something for both teams. So, the Roadies took the pinfall here, despite Elias not being on the show. Which takes us to this segment with a Revival, with Charlie Caruso. She asks how they feel about having to face Kurt Hawkins and Zack Ryder at Backlash. Sorry. The Revival, they laugh off the threat of Hawkins and Ryder because they're Hawkins and Ryder. The Revival are this super top tag team, one of the best tag teams on the planet, and they have to face a joke of a tag team like Kurt Hawkins and Zack Ryder. And they say they didn't fight off the hand of God, basically, with how often they were being screwed over to get these titles, only to end up losing them to two jokes like Hawkins and Zack Ryder, top guys out. So they're not taking Ryder and Hawkins seriously as a threat at all. Another segment like last week's, this time showing a weightlifting competition and not a race. See a woman step up. She barely gets the weights off the ground and gives up and walks away. And then another woman steps up, adds one or two more to each side of the weight, and just easily lifts it up over her head, holds it there for 10 seconds, and then drops it to the floor, emphatically slamming it down, walks off. Screen fades to black. The word strongest appears on screen. Second local squash match for Rhea Ripley. She beats Sami Lane, 2 minutes. She's getting the jobber squash treatment, and she gets a win again. Johnny Gargano's in his locker room. He's like putting his wrist tape on, putting on his kick pads, putting on his little entrance jacket and zipping it up. And Seth Rollins walks in. He thanks Gargano for standing up to Braun Strowman earlier on tonight, and wishes him good luck against Braun in the main event. But he needs to not worry about Babatunde, because Seth's going to make sure that Babatunde doesn't get involved. And if Gargano needs help, Rollins is going to be there with his back. Johnny says he's just sick of Braun throwing his weight around, thinking he can just waltz straight into a Universal title match because he's big and strong in a world of indie midgets. So when this indie midget beats the monster later on tonight, he's going to be humbled and think twice before he messes with Universal Champion Seth Rollins. And then him and Gargano would shake hands and scream when we cut to commercial or something. We cut back, Bo Dallas is in the ring, Shinsuke comes out, we have a match. Shinsuke beats him with a Kinshasa. Not a lot else to it, just that really. And then get a recap of the Undisputed Era debuting last week and attacking AJ Styles. And then we cut to UE standing in their little backstage, little scaffold. You know what I mean if you've seen any Undisputed Era promo in NXT, where they always cut them. Yes, they're stood in that area, and they're talking about how they took over Raw. They'd have each man introduce himself to the audience. You'd have Bobby Fish and Roderick Strong, and then Kyle O'Reilly would be like, "I'm too famous to get groceries," because he's just the best. And then it's Adam Cole he'd be like, "I'm Adam Cole, baby. Even though you may never have seen me before, I know you've heard that name. You've heard the hype. And unlike AJ Styles, I live up to the hype. Tonight, I make my Monday Night Raw debut, and then you'll see what Adam Cole, baby, and the Undisputed Era are capable of. And that is undisputed." So yeah, we'll be seeing Adam Cole make his debut tonight. And yeah, we'll see what the hype is all about, he says. Payne and Sonya, not a very good match, unlike Sonya and Becky from last week, because they don't seem to click. But Payton gets the win after an interference from Billie Kay. Which leads to the Iconics getting in the ring, both of them, and attacking Sonya Deville after Payton's win here. And then they set up for where Payton's on her knees and has her knee up, and Billy's going to throw Sonya into her knee. And Becky comes out and evens the odds. She throws Payton into the outside, And then she like locks eyes with Billie Kay, who's like screaming in fear. She's pointing at her injured knee. She's like, "No, Becky, please don't, mate. Fuck off, mate. Leave me alone. I'm injured." And Becky would lock her in the disarmer anyway. And Billie would tap out frantically like she's being stabbed slowly. She'd oversell the pain. And Peyton would overreact on the ramp like Billie is being murdered in the ring, because that's just what the Iconics do best. And Becky locks Billie in the disarmer, makes her frankly tap out, because she did have the match with Sonya last week, and obviously has respect for Sonya Deville for giving her such a great fight. So she's come out to shut up the Iconics this week. We get another hype video for the Street Profits. They're going to get over slowly but surely. They're now getting ease. And here is Adam Cole's debut. Pretty shit match with Dolph Ziggler. And he gets the win. I believe I did have to keep Ziggler strong, because that is why. Because apparently Dolph Ziggler wouldn't want to lose to Adam Cole. Not much else to it. Adam Cole gets the win, of course. We then get a phone promo from Elias, who is on tour, I guess. He says he's sorry he hasn't been there for the last few weeks. He's like, well, actually, no, I'm not. Because he couldn't be happier to be away from the WWE Universe. Because he had his roadies in action, Heath Slater and Dragon Aisu earlier on. And they told him they were treated like filth. And the WWE Universe is just as disgusting as it was when Elias was here last. But it's no matter, because he's being forced to perform at Backlash. And he says he's written the song of a lifetime, and he can't wait for the world to hear it. We then get Braun Strowman and Babatunde shown backstage. Braun says, he's like, when he first came to WWE, he was a monster. He was like, he never spoke. He was the big scary monster that was to be feared by everyone. But with all monsters in WWE, he was quickly asked to drop it and become a big friendly giant to please the kids. But that's not what he is. He's a monster. He has to sit here on the back burner, being the BFG, a big friendly giant, while pipsqueaks like Seth Rollins and Johnny Gargano get all the main event spotlight and the world title opportunities. He says, "That's no more. Me and Babatunde are the modern day monsters, and we're here to destroy." So Braun, basically explaining why he's been attacking Seth and Gargano, says he's tired of basically the small men running around as the viable world champions, and that the age of the monster is coming back. Women's tag match. The two remaining members of the Riot Squad on Raw, Ruby Riott and Sarah Logan, get beat by the MILFs. Women's right to Sarah Logan. And then after the match, they grab the microphones. And what I believe I'd probably have it be Mickey doing the talking here. And she says, "Another win for the ladies, beating those classless rioters, yet still no recognition. You have the champions out here beating two girls dressed for a fashion show and not dressed for competition. But that's supposed to impress us. Well, it doesn't. Sasha, Bayley, you come near us and we'll put you down with a women's right." And that's #Monday Night MILF. So they are definitely staking their claim now to Sasha and Bayley's tag titles, saying, hey, you beat two women who are not even dressed for competition, yet we're out here beating actual tag teams and nothing. But now they're looking to make their claim to Sasha and Bayley. Samoa Joe puts Verano to sleep with a coquina clutch. Yeah, that's about it. After the match, Joe grabs a mic after putting Verano to sleep. He's like, Ali, you want to keep messing with me? This will be you, Ali, he shouts. He grabs the cameraman. He's like screaming this into the camera. Microphone, just absolutely irate, scary, peak scary Samoa Joe. He then throws the microphone to the floor, like shoves the cameraman back. And I'd probably have the cameraman like fall over, but be filming Joe locking Rhino back in the clutch from the ground. So it looks like Joe's just absolutely destroyed everyone in sight. Rhino's face turns purple from the clutch. and Joe is on a mission to just destroy Mustafa Ali and everybody on Raw. Okay, that's good. That's a good note to remember about the chemistry there. Main event, Braun and Johnny Gargano gets a 79B. Gargano scoring a 7... I know he's got great chemistry. That boosted his rating up. But this is only his second official week on Raw, and he's scoring a 76. So, yeah, he's definitely going to have big plans and big stuff in the future. And then, after the match, Braun defeats a very game Johnny Gargano, who gave it his all, but eventually couldn't get the job done. Braun picks him up and throws him back to the floor. And then Babatunde comes in the ring. He picks up Gargano and holds him in place. Braun would put his hands on Gargano's face and scream in his face like, "I'm the monster among men!" But then goes to hit Gargano. But before we can hit Gargano, we hear, "Burn it down!" And Seth Rollins runs out with a steel chair, nails Braun in the back, sends him packing to the outside. Babatunde would have let go of Johnny Gargano. He charges at Seth, who hits him in the gut with a steel chair, and he causes him to obviously bend over and hold his gut, so Seth can whack him on the back a couple of times with the steel chair. He'd then point the steel chair at Braun, who is halfway up the ramp, retreating, before throwing it to the floor, dropping Babatunde with a curb stomp. And him and Gargano obviously would hug or raise each other's arms or whatever to end the show, which gets us a 85B+, so another pretty decent Raw here. And I'll see you next time for SmackDown Live.